Okay, a good thing to do now is to finish our Icelandic scene. Now, same as last time, let's just disable the material on our ground plane since it's pretty hard on my computer at least. And we'll just, so let your imagination go wild. A couple of things we need to pay attention to. Oops, I just noticed that my camera lock is on and I'm disturbing my keyframes. Let's see what's going on. Let's just go back. It's always nice when you scroll and do that stuff. Okay. So we're back to normal. So remember to turn this off so you can look around freely. A couple things to pay attention to. We want to break up the horizon. So we have, you can clearly see there's an ending to this ground plane. So we want to make sure we put some larger rocks in the background to break up this hard edge. What's also nice is if we would put something close to the camera so we have some parallaxing. Also look up some pictures from Iceland to get a kind of reference. So I just typed in some keywords: rocks, green moss, black sand, and then you kind of get a feel what a scene like this would look like. So let's spend around 30 minutes to an hour perfecting our scene, and then we'll see each other afterwards. Okay, that's it. So within 30 minutes you can create something really cool using the Megascans library. Let's talk about what I've done. So I broke up the horizon so we don't see the hard edge of our plane. I also put some rocks here in the foreground so you have some nice parallaxing. I put some stuff in the middle of the scene and something just outside the frame here. So it looks like our scene is extended further. Yeah, and I also added one extra rock. So I used 4 different kind of rock assemblies in total. I will show you which rock I used. I used the Icelandic rock plates as well. And this one I used mainly in the background. So let's go to our scene view. I'm quickly disabling this ground plane material again. I will revisit this later because there's something I forgot to do about this. But let's first look at our scene. So I placed these big rock plates further away so we get an extended feel. Our scene will feel bigger than it actually is. This is the one here that I put on the side to also make our scene feel bigger. And as I've told before, I adjusted the level of detail for each rock. So the ones up close, so probably these ones, I made LOD 0, and then the ones that are further I made LOD 3. So I can show you real quick, for instance, this one. If you go inside, asset geometry, and then in here you can select the LOD you want, so 3. There's one other thing I did. Actually, there's 2 things I did. I upped my light intensity to 1.6 because I felt the light was a little dim. So I upped that a little bit and I adjusted my camera a little bit as well. So in the first 35 frames, I made sure we saw some more of the ground. So I tilted the camera downwards a bit. I believe we were at like 8 and now we're at 2 degrees. I just did this so we could see some more of the landscape before we follow the ship upwards. Okay, so now we need to address an issue with our ground plane. Where's my ground plane? It's here. So when I load our material, it doesn't display the material correctly. So when we zoom in here, you can see that the texture scale or something is off. And I always assumed that when you assign the material using the Quixel bridge, that it would always display correctly, but apparently that's not the case. So we have to fix that. And luckily there's an easy way to fix this. So we go in our ground plane. Oh, first we disable this. So we delete the material up in here. We don't need that in here. Delete. Then we go in our ground plane. And Houdini has a quick way to project an image file on a surface without dealing with UVs and stuff. And it does that with a UV quick shader or UV quick shade. So we'll put that down here. Set the flag. And now we have UVs, as you can see here. And if we now place our material, the one we got from Quixel Megascans, if we now place it in here, so material, and we'll just, you can select the group here, but if you say asterisk, it will just select everything. And then we select our material, do this, and now it displays the material correctly. There's just one problem, and that's the scale is way too big. So my computer has a really tough time computing this texture ground plane, and I don't know why. Maybe it's because I'm also recording, but maybe if I turn off the ghost or get rid of these subdivides. Okay, that's better. Okay, so let's take a look at this. Maybe we can ghost. Yeah, so now we can see a rock here, so we have some reference. Okay, so the texture is too big, so we have to change that. And if we take a look at our quick shade here, we actually have to scale the texture up to make it smaller. So we have more tiles like this. So let's try 10. And that's better. I still think it's a little bit too large, so I'm going to change it to 15. And let's take a look in our camera. Maybe a bit more, 17. Okay, this is looking good. So my computer gets really slow with these subdivisions. So maybe I'll change this one to 1, and this one is already 1. Let's turn this one on. Okay, so let's just try this, and I'll just turn it off whenever my computer gets too slow. All right. Select our camera. Let's do a render view of this scene. Okay, here's our finished Iceland scene with the fixed ground plane material issue. If we zoom in here, you can clearly see that it is displayed correctly now. So I'll just switch back and forth between the unfixed one, which is this one, and this is the fixed one. So that's looking way better.